Channel 11 News starts with severe weather Team 11 coverage.
Storm tracker Doppler 11 radar showing widespread showers heading our way. This is a slow-moving system stretching through several states. Thanks for joining us. I'm Gordon Lesh. Let's get right to meteorologist Stephanie Allison pinpointing which neighborhoods could see some of that heavier rain. Stephanie.
Gordon, good afternoon. You know, we have these overcast skies right now. Temperatures today will stay in the lower 70s later this afternoon. Right now we're in the 60s, so those gloomy skies back with us. Not as cool as last weekend, but what we will have is that chance to see some thunderstorm activity in the forecast here coming up in the next 24 hours. Right now we had some light rain earlier this morning tracking off to the north and to the east, so pretty quiet. We're going to get this lull and the rain and this activity here for the middle part of our day. There is a chance to see some pockets of moderate rain here come into our area later this evening. And really what I'm tracking is that chance of potential storms in our forecast here. So most of today, not really concerned for thunderstorms, but I'm going to pinpoint the best chance of storms in our forecast over the next couple of days and the timing on that, how much rainfall you can expect as well over these next 3 days coming up in the next 15 minutes. Gordon, back to you.
All right, thanks, Stephanie. A man called 911 after being shot in East Pittsburgh. This happened outside an apartment building on Grandview Avenue near Center Avenue. He was able to make it to a house to call for help. Neighbors tell Channel 11 they heard at least 8 gunshots. No arrests have been made, and we're working to find out how that victim is doing. Allegheny County police are taking the lead in the investigation into a stabbing in Stowe Township. A man was stabbed on Broadway Avenue just after 1 this morning. He is expected to be okay. Police have not released a description of the suspect. A reminder from police in Pittsburgh. A curfew is still in effect for teenagers, and they're going to start cracking down. Channel 11's Mike Holden explains why they're stepping up enforcement.
Borough officials and local police say it boils down to the safety and well-being of kids. They believe that by implementing this curfew, it could make a huge difference moving forward. Pittsburgh police took to Facebook and shared this post. They stressed there is a youth curfew from 10 at night until 6 in the morning, Sunday through Saturday. The ordinance does not apply to teens who are working or with adults. The move comes as the nearby city of Pittsburgh and Penn Hills have seen their own string of violence involving teens and young adults. People who live in the borough told us they feel the curfew is a great idea, especially as school is letting out. There will be more kids playing outside and hanging out near downtown. They say overall, Pittsburgh is a pretty safe place, and having measures like this makes a huge difference and adds another layer of security.
The kids around here, they like to enjoy themselves. They like to have fun, but we as adults, especially the parents, we need to make sure that they are safe out here.
Specifically here in Pittsburgh, I think it'll help. I don't think there's too much violence out here anyway, but like I said, I don't think kids should be out too late to begin with.
And that curfew is officially in effect right here in Pittsburgh. In the meantime, I'm now talking with local parents about their thoughts on this entire push and what they believe will make it a success for Channel 11 News starting at 5 o'clock tonight. Reporting in Pittsburgh, Mike Holden, Channel 11 News.
Prosecution rested its case this morning in a rape case dating back more than a dozen years. Now Moshe Journo's defense attorney will start calling witnesses. He's accused of sexually assaulting a teenage girl in Dormont. He was first arrested 15 years ago, posted bond, and was released, but he'd left the country and was caught in Israel 2 years ago and extradited. The alleged victim is now 32, but was 15 when investigators say Journo attacked her at a tanning salon. Opening statements began today in the high-profile murder trial of a Greensburg man. Walter Cable is accused of beating a woman with a hammer and then burning her remains. This case dates back 4 years when the body of Ronnie Cable was found in a wooded area in Derry Township. In a previous court appearance, Cable's defense lawyer claimed that another man was the killer. Devin Akamichi is expected to testify during this trial. Back in 2018, while under oath, he said he witnessed the killing. Investigators are looking for surveillance video of a carjacking downtown.
Downtown is dangerous. Anything can happen down here. Something can happen now in the daylight.
Police say a woman was in the passenger seat when a man put a gun in her face, forced her out, and then stole the car. This happened at about 1:30 a.m. yesterday morning on Smithfield Street, just blocks from Point Park University. If you have video or saw anything, police asked you to give them a call. The Pittsburgh Public School District is teaming up with Giant Eagle and UPMC to get students vaccinated. 5 schools had clinics this morning, and they'll host a number of clinics across the district through next Thursday. The vaccines are available for students as young as 12. Kids do need an appointment, and they have to be with a parent or guardian. A new study suggests that masks and social distancing are still needed, even with vaccinations. Researchers at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill went through piles of data, and they used a mathematical model to simulate coronavirus spread. Their results showed infections, hospitalizations, and deaths would rise if schools fully opened and pandemic precautions were lifted. Just last month, the CDC said it was safe to go maskless in most social situations if you were fully vaccinated. Later today, the president will deliver remarks on the COVID response and the vaccination program. And as Britt Conway reports, there are signs of progress, but experts say this pandemic is nowhere near over.
Signs of normalcy.
It's just been super strange going from not being allowed to be in public anywhere, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, everybody's outside.
It feels good, though, to be back free.
Signs of progress in the fight against COVID-19. In the U.S., the average daily number of new COVID-19 cases is below 20,000 for the first time since March 2020. And the American Academy of Pediatrics reports the lowest number of new weekly cases in kids since early October. But kids made up about 25% of new cases last week, which is one reason why there's still such a push to get those eligible vaccinated. And that's in addition to the president's goal of getting 70% of adults with at least one vaccination dose by July 4th. CDC data shows 12 states have reached that goal. On a global scale, the latest report from the World Health Organization shows new COVID-19 cases declined for a fifth week in a row. Still, the numbers are high. We're talking millions of new cases every week, which is why U.S. officials are working out how to distribute vaccines to other countries, knowing beating COVID-19 is a global fight.
We have the means to end this pandemic quickly and save countless lives and livelihoods.
I'm Britt Conway reporting.
Disney Cruise Lines will soon set sail. The cruise line says it got the go-ahead from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention for a test sailing from Port Canaveral. The ship will sail with volunteer passengers and test newly developed health and safety protocols. Royal Caribbean has also received approval to do a similar test. A new proposal in Harrisburg would pay people to get back to work. The Republican House bill would end the extra $300 a week for unemployment benefits. Some people think the money is keeping unemployed people from looking for a job. So instead, this proposal would give part of that money to businesses, and then they could give people bonuses if they decide to get off unemployment. Clock is ticking for people to file weekly unemployment benefits before the state system is taken offline. You have to file before tonight at 9 to make sure your claim is processed before the system updates on Thursday. The state is moving from a 40-year-old system to a newer one, expected to be faster and easier to use. Pennsylvania continues to rebound financially from the pandemic. The state says tax collections through May were almost $3 billion more than expected. The state has collected $36 billion in taxes this fiscal year. That money is expected to come in handy as lawmakers work on next year's budget. Last summer, state budget makers warned a multi-billion-dollar deficit could be coming because of the pandemic. The owners of a Carnegie bar under investigation as a nuisance bar have been given an extension to operate. Neighbors and police say things have been much quieter at Hottie's Martini Bar since COVID restrictions have been lifted. Police say it became a rowdy attraction earlier this year when COVID rules were ignored. A public hearing will be held before a final decision is made on the bar's future. You may not think a cyber attack on a meat processing plant would impact you, but it is just the latest example of a growing national security threat. Hackers are going after everything from gas to beef. ABC's Tom Costello reports.
Good day. JBS says it believes it is making progress in addressing the cyber attack that was launched against it over the weekend. Yesterday, Tuesday, 6 JBS plants were offline in the U.S. as well as operations in Canada and Australia. JBS is the world's biggest meat producer and a supplier to major U.S. brands including Pilgrim's, McDonald's, Costco, and Walmart. The company has told the White House it believes Russian criminal hackers were behind the attack, demanding a ransom to free up the company computers. In a statement late yesterday, JBS said the vast majority of our beef, pork, poultry, and prepared foods plants will be operational today, Wednesday. It's just the latest cyber attack against critical U.S. infrastructure. Just last month, the Colonial Pipeline was hacked, shutting down a critical gas line up the East Coast and squeezing gas pumps dry, but it also comes at a time that beef and poultry prices are surging. President Biden is meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Geneva in 2 weeks, and cybersecurity will be among the topics for discussion. But experts say it's doubtful that the Kremlin will really crack down on Russian criminal gangs that are targeting not Russian interests, but Western interests, Western companies, and Western governments. I'm Tom Costello in Washington, NBC News. Back to you.
Pittsburgh's biggest bank is now coast to coast. PNC finalized its $11.6 billion deal to buy BBVA. With the transaction official, PNC is now the nation's 5th largest commercial bank, with physical locations in 29 of the 30 largest markets in the U.S. Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman marked the start of Pride Month yesterday by putting a rainbow flag back up on the balcony at his office at the state capitol. State workers removed it just hours later. That's because the flag violates a relatively new state law. Last year, Republican lawmakers passed a provision to ban unauthorized flags on Capitol grounds. Fetterman told us he wants to fly the flag to call attention to the fact that Pennsylvania law does not explicitly protect the LGBTQ community from discrimination.
This is just basic fairness that, you know, we are all equal in the eyes of the law, and that currently is not true for our gay and trans members here in Pennsylvania.
He said he'll just keep hanging the flags, even if others keep taking them down, and he hopes it will lead to change by next year's Pride Month.
All right, we have wet weather on the way, a chance of storms as well, and it's going to stay unsettled over the next 3 days. Everything you didn't need to know next.
She didn't think twice about this. The reason this teenager attacked a bear.
It just keeps getting worse, and now it's completely unplayable.
Yeah, this Pittsburgh ball field in such bad shape, some local teams worry the season will be canceled. What the city told us when we asked about repairs. Viewer video shows a house up in flames in Munhall. The heat was so intense, firefighters say it was difficult to get inside. And despite their best efforts, they were unable to save the man who lived there.
It's tough. It's tough on them when you come across somebody that you can't help. You know, it's probably going to weigh on them for a little while.
And we spoke with witnesses who tried to help rescue the man from his home on Andrew Street yesterday.
And they were pounding on the back door trying to get a response from him and hollering all around the house.
There was a lot of smoke. You couldn't see the street. You couldn't see the house when we pulled up.
A fire marshal is investigating what started that fire. State police are investigating after someone threw rocks off a turnpike overpass. Softball-sized rocks hit the windshield of two big rigs in Cumberland County. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Just last month, several cars were hit by rocks thrown from I-70 in an overpass there in Washington County. Police say an 11-year-old and a 19-year-old confessed, and they told police they threw the rocks because they were bored. They both face charges. We've been getting a lot of questions from viewers about the dog you see in this video showing the pup being abused by its owner. Well, the good news is that dog is now in stable condition and is receiving continued care through Humane Animal Rescue of Pittsburgh. And they tell us the pup will not be up for adoption anytime soon due to pending charges against its former owner. A local baseball field dedicated to a local police officer killed in the line of duty has seen better days. The Officer Eric Kelly Field in Stanton Heights is filled with puddles, craters, and muck. Some team organizers say the city is neglecting the field, telling Channel 11's Liz Kilmer the field has been in bad shape for years and nothing gets done.
It just keeps getting worse, and now it's completely unplayable. You don't even want to walk on the field.
Bases are marked by puddles, craters, and muck at this Pittsburgh City ball field in Stanton Heights, a problem several teams and leagues are tired of.
It's disappointing when I'm looking forward to practice and then it's canceled because the field is terrible.
Evan Allen plays with the 14th Ward Youth Baseball Association. His dad, Gregory, coaches and is among several who've reached out to the city asking for help, only to strike out. Tweets we saw from the Pirates RBI City Sports League report problems back in 2018.
It's partly drainage. They also just need to level the field or laser grade the field, which they do with some fields. It'd be nice if they just dig the whole field up and kind of redo it.
The field was named for Officer Eric Kelly, one of 3 Pittsburgh cops killed responding to a domestic call in the neighborhood back in 2009. A sign at the ball field says your tax dollars are working and that renovations are coming soon. A city spokesman tells us, quote, the park is in line for major renovations that are expected to be announced this summer. But with seasons ending in the summer, players fear it will be too little too late once again, and at a time when families are ready for some fun and normalcy.
You want to be able to get out. Right? You know, we have kids who love baseball, and my kids, but also, you know, a whole league and other leagues around that could potentially use this field. Or even just neighborhood kids coming up to play for fun, right? They can't even do that. So it is really disappointing.
That was Liz Kilmer reporting. A city spokesperson told Channel 11 that they plan to get some maintenance work done there this week. She asked what's caused the delay, and that question was not answered. We're hearing from leaders at Robert Morris University about the decision to cut its hockey program. According to our partners at DK Pittsburgh Sports, that decision was made entirely by the Board of Trustees chairman and the school president, but it never got a vote by the full board. RMU President Chris Howard says they had little choice. He says the ice arena being off campus posed challenges, and hockey is one of the most expensive sports, partly because of low ticket sales. He says it would have taken between $10 and $25 million to keep the team sustainable.
Our largest source of revenue at RMU is our students' tuition, and we are simply unwilling to pass those costs along to our students as we emerge from a global pandemic.
Private donors have contributed $350,000 to save the programs, and students also started a fundraiser that's raised more than $27,000. A Butler County water park has delayed its opening because it doesn't have enough lifeguards. According to Butler Radio, the goal is to open Alameda Water Park in the city of Butler no later than June 19th. The park is offering workers between $10 and $12 per hour and $1,600 incentives. Of course, the weather is getting warmer, and state leaders are reminding everyone to be careful about ticks. The governor's office sent out some reminders yesterday. Remember, the less skin you have exposed, the less chance you have to get bitten. Use bug spray, do a tick check before you come in, and once you do, take a shower right away. If you have been bitten by a tick and are showing symptoms of a tick-borne illness, call a doctor.
You're your severe weather Team 11 forecast.
Great tips there. You know, we're going to be spending some time outside this weekend, but first we have some wet weather to get through over the next couple of days. 66 outside right now. We have this overcast sky. We're really going to see those clouds hang out in our forecast over the next couple of days. Now, if we get some clearing tomorrow, that could set the stage for some thunderstorms, and I'm going to pinpoint the timing on that here coming up. But let's talk about today and what you can expect as you walk out the door this afternoon. Those light rain showers now pressing off to the north and to the east that we saw this morning. Very light in nature scattered across our viewing area. This low pressure system here is tracking up the Ohio Valley, and it's going to continue to track towards us. So right now, pretty quiet at the moment, pretty dry. Most of the daytime hours today should just be cloudy. Could see a very light sprinkle or passing shower. We're going to save some of that wet weather here for us this evening. That looks like a better chance mainly after 7 o'clock to see some isolated showers, even some moderate pockets of heavy rain to pop up here this evening, and a better chance for us overnight and into tomorrow. So temperatures this afternoon only coming into the lower 70s because we have the cloud cover out there and that wet weather. Those dew points, well, they are starting to get on the rise, so it's starting to feel a little uncomfortable out there, and we're going to really notice that later this evening and into tomorrow morning. So cloudy skies with us. We do have those pockets of little areas of rain that will pop up. Your storm tracker showing you 8:30 tonight. Look at this line that kind of sets up. We could have a clap of thunder within this, but the main concern will be that moderate to heavy rain for us this evening. Look at this, 10 o'clock tonight on your Wednesday evening going into the midnight hour. So that's going to be around in our forecast, especially when we go on tonight at 5 o'clock. Chief Meteorologist Stephen Cropper will be tracking any isolated shower that pops up, but saving the bulk of that for your later evening hours. Tomorrow morning, most of the wet weather and those pockets of heavier rain should wrap up by the time the sun comes up. But if we get any sunshine tomorrow, that is going to fuel and set the stage for tomorrow afternoon, which is the best chance to have some stronger storms in our forecast. 62 for you overnight. Tomorrow, 72, as I mentioned, just hanging out in the lower 70s today and tomorrow because of that cloud cover. But as I mentioned, if we get that sunshine early tomorrow afternoon, we do have a good chance to see a few of those storms that will pop into our forecast tomorrow with that front could become strong. So I'm going to pinpoint that here coming up on Storm Tracker in the next half hour, the timing of that line here for tomorrow. As you can see, the SPC has put us in an isolated severe storm risk for Thursday, and that's something we're going to keep an eye on for you. 79 on Friday, a few showers or thunderstorms around in the afternoon hours on your Friday. And then this weekend, which is what everybody wants to see, a lot of sunshine around and those 80s in the forecast. 85 on Saturday, 88 on Sunday. It will also feel humid as well, so some summer weather here coming to us this weekend and 30 degrees warmer than last weekend. Gordon?
Thanks, Stephanie. Usually it's the other way around, but this girl says she didn't think twice why she attacked a bear.
We're going to all have to stick together and start over.
And the local family counting their blessings after an out-of-control garbage truck plowed right through their home. Caught on camera, a garbage truck crashed right into a house in Etna. Amazingly, no one was inside, or I should say no one inside was hurt. That is the amazing part. This happened yesterday afternoon on Canning Street, and you can see the front of the house just ripped off there. After the impact, the truck flipped over. 2 women and 2 children were living there, and one of the kids was actually asleep in the front room where the truck crashed.
We're going to all have to stick together and start over. I'm just glad the kids are safe.
And that is the important part. They say the house will likely be condemned. The Red Cross is helping the family, and they've also started a GoFundMe account, and we have a link on WPXI.com. For one California girl, nothing gets between her and her dogs, not even a bear. A security camera captured the face-off in California. You can see the bear and 2 cubs on a wall behind the house. The family's 4 dogs soon charge out at the bears. The mama bear takes a swipe at a couple of them, and that's when Haley Morinico ran toward the bear and pushed it right off the wall.
Honestly, the only thing I had in mind was to protect my dogs, and that's what I did.
Brave woman there. The bear fell backward, poking its head back over for one last look before running off.
Wet weather back with us now. A chance of storms in the forecast. That's coming up next.
And an update on a Target 11 investigation that uncovered the personal data of thousands of Pennsylvanians that have been compromised. The changes one state senator is pushing to hold everyone accountable. Storm tracker Doppler 11 radar showing showers developing, and some neighborhoods could see storms push through. Meteorologist Stephanie Allison pinpointing which neighborhoods could see that heavier rain.
Gordon, you know, we have cloudy skies outside right now. We've had light rain showers. Most of the day today, we'll see rain, pockets of heavy rain to moderate rain. That's going to come later on this evening. Right now, pretty quiet, pretty dry across us. Out of the tower cam, you can see those cloudy skies with us. So the clouds continue this afternoon. It's going to keep those temperatures in lower 70s, as you can see out of the PennDOT cam and the Fort Pitt tunnels. Those clouds out there as well. I like to give you those couple of views there just so you can see off in the distance. So the clouds with us now. There's the light rain that we had earlier this morning really tracking out of here. So we have a little break and a pretty big break off to our south and to our east. As you can see, there's some dry conditions there in parts of eastern Ohio. So we're going to continue to stay dry a little bit until this evening. Then about 7 o'clock, we could see an isolated shower pop into our forecast. And then really after 10 o'clock tonight is where we're going to start to see some showers. Could even hear a clap of thunder. And you're going to notice the change. As you step outside, it's going to start to feel a little uncomfortable. The dew points are rising and temperatures will be close to dew points as we go through the overnight hours. And tomorrow really is the best chance to see some thunderstorms in our forecast. I have the latest on storm tracking. I'm going to time that out for you when you can expect those thunderstorms to roll through our area here coming up in the next 15 minutes. Gordon, back to you.
All right, thanks, Annie. We are working to find out if anyone was forced out from a small apartment fire in Robinson Township. That sparked just after 1 this morning inside a building on West Point Drive. The flames were out by the time our crew got there, and there were no reports of any injuries. It has been more than a month since Target 11 broke the story about the compromised personal health information of more than 70,000 Pennsylvanians. Lawmakers told investigator Rick Earl they still have not gotten answers from the state.
While I am exceedingly grateful for the excellent reporting that you have done on this issue, people should not have to rely on journalists to learn that their personal information has been compromised.
Senator Kristen Phillips-Hill, a Republican from York, critical of the Wolf administration and their handling of the contact tracing data breach first exposed by Target 11 in April.
I think it's incredibly unfortunate that we wasted $23 million on a contract. But even more egregious to me is that it leaked very personal and very sensitive information, including information about children.
Target 11 also learned that Insight Global didn't begin notifying people until 3 weeks after our report.
Now we find out that the entity is also absolutely horrendous at addressing the very concerns raised by those whose information was in fact leaked. And I, again, have to say, it's government dysfunction at the highest level.
In light of that, Hill is backing legislation that requires state agencies to notify those impacted by a data breach within 7 days. The legislation was amended to include third-party contractors like Insight Global.
It's certainly a great priority of mine, and I believe many of our colleagues. The bill, as amended, came out of committee unanimously, and I think that speaks to how people across the Commonwealth feel about this data breach.
Now, as Rick Earl reporting, after his reporting, the state decided to end the contract later this month. The senator says that she's hoping an investigation by the Attorney General will provide some answers. Leaders in several counties are pushing for change to the deadlines for mail-in ballots and pre-canvassing. County leaders say there's a need for a bill that would allow additional time to pre-canvass, which is what they do when they open the ballots. They also want to move the deadline for mail-in ballot applications back to 15 days ahead of an election.
We need the General Assembly to focus on the swift passage of legislation that expands the pre-canvassing period and extends the mail-in ballot application deadline, period.
County leaders say making these changes would improve elections moving forward. Researchers at Penn State want to find ways to predict who will have a severe allergic reaction to the COVID-19 vaccines, and they need participants. They're looking for people with a history of severe allergic reactions who are not yet vaccinated. They'll cover the travel costs and hotel expenses and even pay you $50 per shot. The latest data shows about 10 in 1 million people developed a severe allergic reaction to the COVID shots. The World Health Organization has a new way to track the many COVID-19 variants that keep showing up. They have created a new naming system that will use letters of the Greek alphabet. So the variant first identified in the UK and now the predominant variant in the US will simply be known as Alpha. The variant first identified in South Africa will be Beta, and the one discovered in India will now be known as Delta. Olympic athletes from around the world have faced enormous challenges training for the Tokyo Games, now just over 7 weeks away. CNN's Blake Essig shows us how Australia's softball team is trying to overcome the obstacles of playing during a pandemic.
Touching down in Tokyo, the Aussie Spirit, Australia's softball team, is the first international Olympic team to enter Japan post-pandemic to prepare for the already once postponed Olympic Games.
It's going to be a very different games, there's no doubt about that.
One day earlier, this team that hasn't played an international opponent since early 2020 took some time to get reacquainted before taking off for Tokyo.
The last year, yeah, it's definitely had its challenges. Overnight, our training completely got shut down. So we had to go through a lot of mental battles.
Those mental battles will continue here in Japan, where catcher Tyla Tisacronis is hoping to make her Olympic debut, knowing what's at stake. She captured these moments along the team's journey, offering the perspective of an athlete prepared to play through a pandemic.
If we get it, that's it. So that's why it's even more drilled into us that we need to make sure we stay safe and be very hygienic with what we're doing.
For the next 6 weeks in the build-up to the Games, the team will be staying and training in Ota City, just outside of Tokyo, as part of the Host Town program. Despite being fully vaccinated and subject to daily COVID tests, the team will only be able to interact with the community virtually and will only be allowed to move in between their hotel and training facility.
Adaptable athletes and adaptable teams are the ones that will succeed at the Olympics.
While Ota City has welcomed the Aussie Spirit ahead of the Games, dozens of other Japanese towns have revoked their invitations to host foreign athletes. And some Olympic teams themselves, including USA Track and Field, have decided it's too dangerous to hold a pre-Olympics training camp in country. Across Japan, calls for the Games to once again be postponed or canceled altogether seem to get louder by the day.
In the Olympics, about 100,000 people will gather in one city from 200 countries. Such a thing has never took place since the pandemic started. It's dangerous for athletes and dangerous for the people of Tokyo.
Despite those concerns, the IOC and Japanese government push ahead, with this team's arrival offering the clearest sign yet that in less than 2 months, the Olympic flame will be lit and the Games will go on. Blake Essig, CNN, Tokyo.
How to build credit without credit cards. The one thing our consumer advisor says you need to score. And hurry up and wait. Why it's taking longer now for Uber and Lyft to show up. Amazon says it will stop testing potential new hires for marijuana. The company says it's making the change as more states legalize cannabis and introduce laws banning employers from testing for it. Positions subject to regulation by the Transportation Department, though, will still include a marijuana test. Get ready for longer wait times and higher fares the next time you take an Uber or Lyft. Just like most other businesses, there is a worker shortage. Demand dropped 75% during the pandemic, and it forced some drivers to find other jobs. And now that Pennsylvania has reopened, companies have run into a driver shortage. They've started offering record wages as a way to lure drivers back. Uber recently announced a $1,000 re-signing bonus. The past year has taught schools across the state a big lesson that many students don't have access to reliable, high-speed internet. To fix that, schools are sending families a new survey. Questions include the number of students living in a household, if every child in the home has access to their own computer, and if there's a fast enough internet access to let more than one student use devices simultaneously. Results could help districts apply for money from the FCC's $7 billion Emergency Connectivity Fund. Graduation day is special for all high school seniors, but even more special for one girl from Somerset County. Megan Ott has spina bifida and uses a wheelchair. For years, Megan has dreamt of walking, and last week, with the help of her mother and a walker, she was able to walk across the field to receive her high school diploma. Congratulations to her.
Humidity's on the rise. The chance of rain will increase later today, and the chance of thunderstorms in the forecast as well. Those details are coming up.
Some companies are offering bonuses to employees to get vaccinated, but is it legal? The federal government settles the debate. Next. Allegheny County is offering $100 bonuses to workers who get vaccinated. Even McDonald's is giving workers up to 4 hours of paid time off to get the shot. Senior correspondent Blair Miller with our Washington News Bureau reports the federal government says it's all perfectly legal.
For many, getting the COVID-19 vaccine means feeling protected and safe from the virus and being able to return to a somewhat normal pre-pandemic lifestyle. But now there could be even more benefits for getting inoculated. Businesses can now legally offer their employees incentives to get the vaccine. That's according to updated guidance from the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. The EEOC said employers can give incentives to workers who voluntarily provide proof of vaccination, and there is no limit to the size of those incentives. The updated guidance also mentions that companies administering the vaccines themselves can also offer incentives. The catch is those incentives cannot make employees feel pressured to reveal protected medical information. The updated guidance also says employers can give employees and their families educational information about COVID-19 vaccines. Right now, around 52% of adults in the U.S. are fully vaccinated. From the Washington News Bureau, I'm Blair Miller.
While Penn State is not requiring COVID vaccines for its students, they are offering incentives for those who do get it. The university will offer weekly prizes for students and employees. Drawings include $1,000, gift cards to Barnes & Noble, and a football signed by Penn State coach James Franklin. A new study suggests it is unlikely COVID-19 could be transmitted through blood transfusions. Researchers examined more than 250,000 blood donations from March to September of last year. COVID-19 was detected in just a few of the samples, and the viral load was extremely low. The FDA recommends anyone who's been diagnosed or suspected of having COVID wait at least 14 days after symptoms subside to donate blood. Building your credit isn't easy, especially if you don't have a credit card. Our consumer advisor, Clark Howard, has more on the one thing you need to kickstart your credit.
Do you know that over 50 million American adults have no credit score at all? That's right. For whatever reason, you haven't applied for credit, or you had trouble with credit years ago and you washed your hands of it. But now you're like, hey, it'd be really good to have credit. Now there are more and more ways you can get your first credit card without having a traditional credit score. In fact, a bunch of banks now are experimenting with issuing traditional credit cards based on how you handle your regular bills, how you handle a checking account if you have one. It really helps to have a checking account for this, by the way. And so there are even non-traditional lenders that are issuing credit cards to people without a traditional credit score. The people who started this is a company called Pedal Card, and now many others have found success taking a chance on people who haven't had credit in the past by knowing you do other things well with your wallet. I'm Clark Howard.
If you live in the New Kensington-Arnold School District, you will soon be paying more in taxes. The school board just approved a 3.7% property tax increase for the next school year. The New Kent-Arnold School District did not say that any teachers will be furloughed, but it told our partners at the Trib that it will be offering early retirement to qualifying teachers. Now, this is an amazing view here. You're looking at video from a drone flying right into an erupting volcano. You can see the lava flowing down the side like a river and the molten rock spewing into the air. The drone operator said the volcano's conditions, though, made it difficult to fly, and it eventually did crash into it.
Your severe weather Team 11 forecast.
Well, clouds across the Pittsburgh area right now, 66. It is starting to feel a little uncomfortable in some spots. I'm going to show you here in a second where those dew points are going up. Right now, 64 in Butler. It's still a little comfortable there. 65 in Beaver, mid-60s south of Pittsburgh. Look at this. Dew points are on the rise in the 60s now. 60 dew point there in Washington, 61 in Greensburg. So this is going to start to set the stage for some uncomfortable weather. Humidity is on the rise for us today with this system, ahead of this system, and it's going to continue to be on the rise over the next couple of days and into the weekend. Even though it's going to be hot, we're talking 80s in the forecast here this weekend, it's also going to be humid as well. So let's take a look. Unsettled weather comes to us today as we already had light rain showers. The low pressure system will continue to track across us, bringing us rain showers again later this evening. So the rainfall forecast, chance to see a sprinkle or a passing shower here late this afternoon or early this evening. That's possible, but we're really going to save the pockets of rain that could set up here for us after 7 o'clock tonight. Certainly something we're going to keep an eye on this evening, and that's going to be between 7 and really 1 in the morning, where we're going to see some pockets of rain pop up from the southwest, tracking across to the northeast for us through the late evening hours tonight. We will not get below the lower 60s tonight, so 62 because those dew points are on the rise. And tomorrow, Really going to see that chance of some showers and thunderstorms in the forecast for the second half of the day. So in the morning, yes, you may need that umbrella early on. 10 o'clock timestamp here for Thursday. Storm tracker showing you those pockets of rain, and we could see that through the evening hours. The afternoon hours, this is what you want to see here is what we don't actually want to see is the chance to have some quiet weather here. If we get some of the breaks in the cloud cover, we could actually have some sunshine, which could fuel some of these storms that pop into the map here at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, something we'll be watching for you. So that is the chance to have some stronger storms pop in here, bringing us some strong gusty winds. Taking a look at what you can expect as we head into Thursday evening, we are going to see an isolated shower around, even some rainfall there by midnight on your early Friday morning. Taking a look what you can expect for tomorrow. 72, as I mentioned, those lower 70s in the forecast. Heavier rain at times as possible. And the SPC put us in that threat for an isolated severe storm. And that mint color there and the brighter yellow indicates that the stronger chance to see some of those storms become severe will be off to our east. So that's good news for us, but we are going to keep an eye on that as we head into tomorrow. 79 on Friday, a chance of a few showers or thunderstorms around the second half of the day. The weekend looks fantastic. We're going to clear that out. We're going to have sunshine around, temperatures warm up, but it's also going to be humid. So we're going to look at 85 on Saturday, 88 on Sunday.
All right, thanks, Stephanie. 7-Eleven plans to build at least 500 electric vehicle charging stations in the U.S. and Canada by the end of next year. Right now, the convenience store chain has just 22 charging stations at 14 stores in 4 states. The new fast charging ports will be installed at about 250 locations, creating one of the largest retail charging networks in the country.
Hey, everybody. What is the #2 reason people go to the doctor? Number 2? Back pain. Did you know that 90% of us at some point in our lives are going to struggle with back pain? And if you've ever had back pain, you know it just stops you. Well, this is Better Back, and this is something that can actually help your body help itself when it comes to back pain. The woman who created this, by the way, look at how great. I just like using this as a rocking chair. The woman who actually invented this was struggling with sciatica, and it was debilitating. She went to the regular doctors. She tried alternative therapies. She did over-the-counter. She tried body pillows. She tried everything. Nothing worked. What she realized was, oh my gosh, it's about posture. This helps your body train itself for better posture in 15 minutes a day, and that affects your mental well-being, your physical well-being, and your emotional well-being. Right now on localsteels.com, these are 30% off, and I can't think of an easier way to make a bigger difference, and oh my gosh, how great it feels.
The galley at Bakery Square is officially open. The food hall includes Asian and Italian dishes, plus burgers, comfort food, and a bar area. The opening comes almost a year after the Galley Group Company announced it was moving out of the Smallman Galley in the Strip District. Someone thought they saw a bobcat in a high school cafeteria in Scranton, so the game warden came in. They dismissed class early, and once the game warden finally found the animal, you can see it was taken out here. You can see it's not a bobcat. It was just a house cat. And it was microchipped, so they were able to find its owners, and it turns out he'd been missing for 2 months. So I guess the owners were pretty happy about that. Our pets put on the pounds during the quarantine. 36% of dogs gained weight while being stuck at home. Researchers found 45% of pet owners fed their dogs extra treats during quarantine, and 41% said they gave them food from their own meals. Dogs seem to take after their owners, too, with 56% of people saying their pups gained weight when they did. That's all for Channel 11 News at noon. Our next newscast is tonight at 5. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.